Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning show featuring headlines and news from our city, state, and country, and all the wonderful comments, ideas, and suggestions that you bring to the table during our broadcasts. Today, as you know, is not a live broadcast. It is the second pre-recorded show. Today is Saturday, October 21st. I am in Guadalajara enjoying a little bit of culture, but I will be back on Monday. Now, if you tuned in yesterday, you noticed that yesterday was pre-recorded as well, and I decided to feature a bunch of cultural content. Today is a little lighter in mood, and the reason I wanted to do that is simply because earlier this week, something interesting happened. Our dear friend Logan, also known as Muffin, reacted to my remark about having problems paying my electricity bill and having unexpected woes because of that. And he commented something in the chat saying, well, that happened to me here at the villa once. And to make it more interesting, a major Hollywood star was staying at the villa, and her presence made things a little bit more nerve-wracking. Of course, Logan, being Logan, did not spill the identity of this person, but I noticed a couple of comments of people that wanted to learn more details. So I found Logan and tried to get the tea from him, try to get more details. And Logan, being the respectful villa manager that he is at Villa Lola, was not very eloquent in terms of giving the identity of the person, but he did forwarded to me a lovely encounter that I will share in the show notes that went on between Joan Rivers, when she used to have a talk show, and a certain lady star. And I pretty much put A and B together as to who was the guest at Villa Lola when Logan had a meltdown because he as well forgot to take care of the electrical bill. So you will know who it is. Take a look.
Muffin, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little frazzled here at work. We're working an event. We have a big party that's taken over the whole villa. They've been here since last Thursday. They're here till next Monday. And today was the big changeover of going from their friends and the big party to over to them.
Okay, do me a favor. Come close. There you go. Close. There you go. Because that way we'll be able to hear you better. I wanted to ask you about something.
Yeah.
But before I ask you about that something, well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to ask you about, and then I want to ask about something else. It feels like Christmas, doesn't it? Just the other day, you mentioned that you had your very own CFE calamity, and you had some like Hollywood luminary in the middle of it at your villa. And I would love to hear more about this because a couple of cluster people were left like, we want to know more. But even before you go there, why don't you remind everyone a little bit of what you do and where you work?
Well, inquiry minds want to know.
Well, yeah.
So I am administrator, general manager at a small boutique, adults only bed and breakfast concept. It's called Villa Lola, but primarily what we do is manage big group buyout, the full villa. When we're not hosting groups, we host individual suite rentals to fill in the space here between the groups. But primarily, we are hosting big birthday groups and bachelorette parties. There's yoga retreats, there's corporate retreats. So there's always like fun events going on and all kinds of things going on. But the CFP incident was almost 5 years ago. And it was when we first came in and started, and we were primarily operating as an adults-only bed and breakfast back then.
So are you at a liberty to discuss the name of this person, or can you at least hint?
Yeah, I think so. Well, yeah, we probably will name her just to be safe, but we can talk around it. Um, and it's not so much a story about her. It's a story really about how just by the grace of the universe and the stars aligning and just being completely stupidly lucky, um, we were able to solve it and come out of it. But as you were telling your CFE story, it was like bringing back all this PTSD from this experience. So it reminded me, and it was giving me anxiety as you were telling it.
Okay, spill the beans. What happened?
Oh, well, okay. So, basically, you started to tell your story about how, what thing happened in the hurricane. And so, it started reminding me of this particular event. We came in here to Villa Lola, meeting my bosses, the owners, purchased the villa, hired me as general manager. We came in December. And so the previous owners were super gracious and totally laid everything into place for us to have an easy, transition and to take over. Everything was paid. Everything was taken care of. They even stayed on another 30 days and like ran to Costco with us and, kind of helped us get into the groove of things. And so, so it was kind of like we were just cruising. It was a really busy time of year. It was February. And so one of my major responsibilities, of course, at the hotel is paying the utility bills, making sure the water is never interrupted, that the Wi-Fi is always connected, that there's always electricity. And so, so we're just like, it's a Tuesday morning in February, and kind of towards the end of breakfast service, around 10:30. And there's a room now that we operate as a room, but before we hadn't converted or remodeled it yet to make it guest ready. So we were kind of using it as an office space as we were getting each other the ropes. I'm now in my office, and but this is kind of a room we were using in the office, and it was getting to be 11, and like the power went out. Now we're here in Emiliano Zapata, and technically right on the line between Amapas and Emiliano Zapata, but here, romantic zone. However, the cluster refers to the area, and it's very common with all the construction happening, all the pressure on the grid and the infrastructure, that there's brownouts, there's rolling blackouts any time of year, especially in the summer with the storms coming through and everyone with their AC full tilt. This was February. But still, it was like, okay, well, the power went out, right? So we're working, and it's like, well, I'm sure it'll come on. And then it's about 10 minutes later, and it was kind of like what happened to you, where this voice started going in my head, like, did you pay the bill? And then I immediately got my boss is working right next to me, and I immediately said, hold on, I need to step outside, and I just ran outside because the instinct was, look at the neighbors across the street. At that time, it's a vet now, but it was a salon. So I could have like looked into the salon and all the women getting their hair done and stuff. I just was anticipating, okay, I'll be able to peek out there and they'll have the lights off and no one's going to get, but anyway, the women were all there. They were getting their hair dry, everyone's getting their hair blown. The lights were all on. The cafe across the street was all operating. People were getting their lattes. And I see like in the towers and all the condos across the street, all the lights on up the tower. And I immediately realized I fucked up. Oh, shit.
Yeah. I hate that feeling. I was there this week.
And so I'm like, okay, there's got to be a way out of it. So it's February. We have, at that time, we're now operate 7 rooms. At that time, we're operating 6 rooms. All 6 rooms were full. There is this lovely couple from Belgium that had paid for 2 full weeks. They're paying high season rates. The rest of the house all full, and on top of all of that, to add to everything else, I'm only like 3 months on this job, and in the most expensive room in the master suite, there was a very notorious actress. She was married to Sylvester Stallone in the 80s. She did appear in the Rocky movies. She is rather tall. She's about 6'5", and she starred alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger, none other than Red Sonja. So I think we know what we're talking about. So this is someone I had seen in movies since I was a child as this big, intimidating, like Viking warrior woman. And then later on in my college years, she kind of came back on the scene, was dating the rapper Flavor Flav, and she was on a reality show down here, like called La Casa de los Famosos, but up there, I think it was called The Surreal Life, where she was openly going through alcoholism and drug problems in this house full of celebrities and causing all kinds of mayhem. And so,
and she happened to, and did she happen to have an epic disagreement with Joan Rivers in her show?
She had an epic disagreement with Joan Rivers. She went face to face and stormed off the set with Joan Rivers with her new, at the time, husband, who, that was in 2006, the Joan Rivers incident. So we're talking about February 2019. So that's 13 years later. She's still with the husband that was on that taping with Joan Rivers here in house as a guest with me. The husband is this adorable, like 5'8", a meter 30 Italian cutie named Matteo, who's half her age, and he was a sweetheart this whole time. And I will say, I checked this actress in, and I'm going, oh my God, this is like, we're not ready for this. Like she's maybe going to last a night before she storms off, wants to find another place. She's not going to be happy here. It's not going to be to her liking. I mean, I was just thinking of the persona I knew from the reality TV show and even from the movies. Couldn't have been the most sweetest, docile, like, got through AA, sober as a nun, and we have wine around and there's beer, and we're always offering guests in the afternoon, wine and cookies or wine and cheese. And she never touched it. She never was interested. So, I believe she was sober, and she acted very sober, very kind. She never snapped at us or the staff. But the lights go out, and it was really funny. The old lady, she hadn't had her toast yet, and she just really wanted to have the toaster working so she could make her toast. And that was like the only thing. So I'm running around and trying to figure out what to do. I grab my boss and he say, there's nothing else we can do but run down now to CFE and explain the situation and see if we can get back online like in 2 hours. Well, we're a business. It's not that easy. Sometimes businesses and private residents for the cluster, for those of the cluster watching that don't know, there's sometimes set up differently. It's a different payment scale, different voltage scale. And in this time, my home was always on a 2-month cycle. The business was on a 1-month pay cycle. And so I wasn't used to that. This is the first time I was working where I was responsible for actually paying the electrical at a business. And so I guess I was just going around going, well, you pay the electrical every 2 months. And I knew we had paid it in January. So I guess I was just thinking, okay, we're going to pay electrical in March again. So long story short, we run out. It's around 11. We get to the CFE office. We're kind of scrambling around. We get a number. It's like an hour-long wait. Then I think we pay at the kiosk. And I can't remember what happened, but we just realized we're not going to wait to talk to someone. We were going to go somewhere else. And we run back out to the curb there at the CFE office in Cinco de Diciembre. And a yellow cab just comes down the street, happened to be empty. I flag him. He pulled right over. We hop in. And again, I can't remember what the plan is because I'm speaking to the cabbie in Spanish. My boss, who doesn't speak a word of Spanish, is in the back seat. And I'm kind of explaining to the cabbie what's happening. And I think I even just said, like, you don't happen to have any friends or anyone you may know with CFE, like any of your cousins, your neighbors, anyone that like may have an in or a personal contact at CFE.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned to me and goes, I used to work for CFE. I said, no. And he's like, yeah, he's like, what happened? And so it was the same thing. He explained about the switch, said the switch, you've paid, right? I said, yeah, we pay. And he said, it may not come back on immediately. We need, there may be the whole, like someone may come out in 2 days and blah, blah, blah. But if you, if you touch the switch, you can do it. So he drove us back here. He showed us how to do it. And sure enough, we were back online in less than 2 hours. And so from the whole guest perspective, we kind of played it off as like, oh yeah, it was just like, it was a failure on the electrical company's part. And, we called and we sorted it out and this and that, but it was totally me not paying the bill.
So many people like you that are working in the service industry always go out of your way to make sure that tourists have the best, most memorable time. But even so, Muffin, there are times in which no matter what we do, tourists are still not happy. They come with expectations, and some of the expectations may be realistic, some of them may not. What is your recipe, and keep it G-rated, please. What is your recipe for taking care of yourself after a long day of dealing with people that just don't get it?
Yeah, that's been a lot of work. I'm an empath, and so I have had to really teach myself not to carry that with me as I go home. I have had to learn to cut the cord, as a dear friend of mine has taught me about with energy work. And I've delved a lot into that energy work. I've delved a lot into disassociating and kind of compartmentalizing that, what happens at work isn't a reflection of you and vice versa. And sticking to a routine, being able to I found honestly really being able to get back and cocoon and be domestic, whether that's doing laundry, making a really good dinner for myself. I have 2 amazing dogs that just require so much time and attention when I'm there. And so it's usually like about taking them on walks and brushing them and feeding them and talking them, petting them, getting them on the couch, putting on TV, and just escaping. So I don't think it's anything groundbreaking, but it's what works for me.
Tell me, because I'm sure that many cluster members will want to know, how is your arm doing?
Well, this may not be G-rated. Do they want to see the scar?
Wait. Okay, show.
There's a scar. Yeah. There it is. It shows up. So we have a scar. This may be a tattoo one day.
I love it.
We had a really good, it was a 2-month follow-up just last week with the traumatologist that operated on me. And so he gave me some really good feedback. Everything's encouraging. There's a bit of atrophy, obviously, from not using this arm or the bone as regular, but with physical therapy says that will come back. There was a bit of an osteoplate they were seeing, but he's also, saying physical therapy and getting it back, we can kind of wheeled that down a bit. My range of motion is getting better. My pool therapy has been difficult, and we have a standing pool therapy date. coming up here because my pool is under renovation right now.
Still.
Have that option, but there is a great neighbor pool that I have a standing date and hope they can get over to either Thursday or Friday this week. So, but yeah, we're just taking it a day at a time. I'm able to lift things a little more. The doctor did say it was okay to start lifting like 10 kilos, 20 pounds of things. Like little shopping bags, if there's some milk from the OXXO or whatever, So, yeah.
Okay, so I have some parting questions for you.
Yeah.
First of all, oh my God, I know you get asked this a lot, but I'm going to ask it just because I want this to be also a little bit of a plug for Villa Lola. Who is Villa Lola, the house that you manage, best suited for?
Villa Lola is best suited for a group of adult friends coming together to celebrate a special occasion, whether it's a milestone birthday, renewing of the vows, family reunion, extended family reunion, bachelor, bachelorette, yoga group, small corporate or training meeting. So yeah, professionals, adults, looking to commemorate or accomplish some kind of celebration or get together and have a retreat.
And in your vast knowledge of popular culture, while I am going to be basking in tradition in Tlaquepaque and at the opera this weekend, what are you going to be watching on TV and why?
This weekend?
Yes.
Well, it's October, so I am getting into the fall of the House of Usher. I am watching season 2 of Loki, and I am starting the lessons in chemistry with Brie Larson.
Awesome.
She's in lessons in chemistry, but chemistry in the kitchen. It's like a cooking. She was a cooking, trailblazer. Yeah.
I did that yesterday. I made brownies.
You are your own trailblazer, aren't you?
I was my own chemist yesterday in the kitchen. But it's not about me. It is about you. Do you have any special message for the cluster? And I want to thank you for sharing a little bit of your deep, dark Hollywood secrets with us.
No. Thank you for being thank you for everyone checking it. Since I was in the bike accident, and so many of the cluster members have wanted to do something, and I haven't been able to tell them exactly what I needed. And so thanks for your patience, understanding that sometimes I just don't know how to verbalize it or to express something tangible that can be done, but just you checking in is enough. So thanks so much.
Well, thank you for your time, Muffin McMiller. I appreciate your spending a little bit of time and dispelling the mystery of this famous Hollywood actress who you're not going to name, but I am. Her name is, I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to put the little video you sent me in the show notes so that people can watch her having a charming disagreement with Joan Rivers on her own talk show. Logan, thank you very much. I will connect with you before I go to Guadalajara, but I will miss you. And of course, we're going to Guadalajara together in November. People didn't need to know that, but hey, we're going to the opera. We're going to RuPaul's Chingadera.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Okay. I will see you soon.
Okay.
And this is it. I am ending the recording right now.
Okay.
Watch me.
Adios.
And that was a little bit of quite a bit of my conversation with Logan. I am sure that those of you that want to know when we're going to see Muffin on the street again. Hopefully, it'll happen sometime in the near future. But Logan is the happy manager of this amazing little villa called Villa Lola or Villa Lola. I will be leaving the link to Villa Lola on the show notes so that you can learn more about this villa. If it is a place that would work for you, you may want to consider it for your next trip to Puerto Vallarta. And of course, I will leave you with the infamous interview. Well, not here, but in the show notes, I will share the infamous interview that that Joan Rivers had with this Hollywood star, so that you can enjoy it. That'll be in the show notes. And of course, I hope you will have a great weekend. I'm going to be enjoying a live broadcast of Dead Man Walking just about the same time as this broadcast is ending. So I'll be bringing all kinds of news and photographs and information about Tlaquepaque and Guadalajara when I come back to the broadcast live on Monday. Between now and then, I hope your weekend will be awesome. And I once again thank you for the opportunity for stepping away for a couple of days and recharge my batteries and share some pre-recorded content with you. But we'll be here live as usual on Monday morning. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.
Thank you.